this week has been blooming marvelous, both in the literal and the metaphorical sense. Literally, because I had the once-in-a-lifetime privilege of visiting a replica of the South African gold-winning exhibition from the Chelsea Flower Show. It was accompanied by a showing of the most incredible Fynbos botanical illustrations by some of the world's finest artists. And metaphorically, because the exhibition made me realize that these flowers are the perfect metaphor for how we continue to grow, flourish, bloom. They reflect our tenacity, our courage, our resilience, our self-love, and our transformations. Join me as I chat about how we transform, adapt, and flower like the Fynbos, no matter what life throws in our way. We are without a doubt blooming marvelous. I'm the Forest Fairy. Welcome to my corner of the woods, where I'm rebuilding, revamping, redesigning a magical life, and hopefully inspire you to gather your own fairy dust. Hello everyone, I hope you're having a fabulous week. October is known as the most beautiful month in South Africa, as everything is flowering. And as a follow-up to our previous conversation on fun and joy, I added a huge bubble of joy to my life when I attended the unique replica of the South African Chelsea floral exhibit this week. Exhibiting as a private display this year, the exhibition showcased the flora of the Cape and walked away with 3 prestigious awards. The Chelsea team included international floral artist and landscape designer Leon Kluge and the local highly respected Grootbos Private Nature Reserve, Grootbos Foundation and Grootbos Floraligium, and together they brought the exhibition to our little village for South Africans to experience firsthand. And what an experience it was. Incredible proteas and Fynbos in full bloom. But even more remarkable for me was the botanical illustrations from the Grootbos Floraligium, a unique collection of botanical illustrations by a collaboration of local and international artists depicting not only the rare, endangered and charismatic plants from the region, but also the insects, pollinators and other creatures associated with them. And while captivated by the exhibition, I had a aha moment. I realized that this isn't just about beautiful and fascinating flowers, it's also about people, women in particular, who strive to bloom regardless. So I thought I would chat this week some of the ways we make ourselves blooming marvelous. By blooming unexpectedly, tending to ourselves, pruning to ensure blooms, blooming after a fire, being blooming adventurous. At the expedition, our very knowledgeable guide and botanical artist Marion Binder explained how some of the rarer proteas and Fynbos could only be found in obscure valleys and mountains, while most have to contend with harsh conditions such as sandy soil and merciless winds. And how often have we not heard of women and men achieving incredible feats, hauling themselves out of dire circumstances to flourish. Some are well-known people we admire from afar, but some are close to us. Our mothers, our fathers, our grandparents, friends, and even ourselves, transcending our circumstances. Fynbos is a fire-adapted vegetation type that requires fire to persist. In the absence of fire, it's gradually replaced by thicket species and its diversity declines. A fire is thus not an unwelcome event, also a reset for Fynbos and an opportunity to grow, bloom and seed for many annuals. Although we don't want to go through fires in our own lives, illness, divorce, death, retrenchments, lost, empty nest, they are often catalysts to blooming in a different way, in a different place, as a different person. Again, we've heard the stories, know the people. We are the stories of blooming after a fire, of being able to look back and know that it was difficult, sometimes tremendously difficult, but realizing it was actually a blessing. So fires are part of life. I don't think there'll ever be a stage where I'll be able to say, my fires are done, I don't foresee any up ahead. Looking back at your fires, did you bloom afterwards? Is there something you think we should know or do to better equip ourselves to bloom after a fire? So Fynbos isn't pruned as it's wild and in the wild, but many of our garden plants need pruning to get rid of dead, diseased or injured parts, which ensures they reach their full potential in size, in flowers and in fruit. For us, if we want to bloom into our best selves, we sometimes need to cut out what's holding us back. It could be fear, or a person, or clutter, or a regret, or an unhelpful habit. We chatted in detail about pruning in an earlier conversation, letting go so that you can move on. Check it out if you missed it or are unsure of what you think you need to prune away. Just some quick info on the Cape Floral Kingdom. It's one of the 6 floristic kingdoms in the world, as well as a UNESCO heritage site. This biodiversity hotspot and relatively small land area at the southern tip of Africa represents less than 0.5% of the African continent, yet is home to 20% of the continent's flora. We have mountains, ocean and beautiful flora. Come pay us a visit. Although the Fynbos doesn't need as much care as our gardens, there are of course major conservation efforts around the Cape to maintain and preserve this floral kingdom. While some efforts are monumental, such as creating large conservancies, others are everyday and continual tasks, such as removing alien plants. Sometimes we need the monumental efforts in our lives, the downsizing, the changing of careers, but it's generally the things we do consistently that ensure our overall physical and emotional well-being. We're hearing it more and more. Your habits determine your success. And if you don't like the word success, you can replace it with your habits determine your lifestyle, or your habits determine your happiness. And just like the South African team took a risk and went on adventure when they decided to showcase the beautiful Cape at Chelsea, so we also need to sometimes just take a risk and go on adventure. As many of you know, I believe in adventures, big or small, serious or light-hearted, solo or in a crowd, or anything in between. Exploring new places, hobbies or passions is like wandering through a garden of possibilities. You just never know where you'll bloom. And there you have it. Enough with the metaphors, but I just could not resist it when the realization dawned on me that we're all blooming marvelous. If you enjoyed this conversation, then check out the conversation on how I lost my spark and the 5 ways I'm getting my fun and joy back. Wishing you a week filled with marvellousness and of course sprinklings of fairy dust. Until next time, goodbye